on it, as did a number of other member states. So I'm happy to answer questions in relation to any of those things.
So just on Gaza, look, what was your sense from the mood in the room? Obviously, we had this building of pressure on Israel, and then Kaja Kallas has come out with her deal she secured with Israel since then. Did you feel that the pressure has somewhat been lifted? What was the mood in the room, as I said?
We don't want to see the pressure lifted. In fact, we want to see leverage. So we know that we have leverage. We know that the agreement that Kaja Kallas entered into last week with Israel is only as a result of the leverage from the room in terms of the pressure that everybody's putting on. So we need to understand that we have that leverage. That dialogue is very important, but it's not enough. We need to use leverage in our dialogue to get results. And like everything else, it will be the implementation of this agreement, and the High Representative has indicated that she'll update Member States every 2 weeks on this. But so far we haven't really seen the implementation of it. Maybe some very small actions, but there's still slaughter going on. There's still a denial of access to food and water as well. And that has been outlined, and that's obvious. So we need to see action, and we need to use our leverage in this situation.
Mr. Simon, because we have this options paper. Is Ireland pushing for example, a suspension of the agreement, parts of the agreement?
Everything on the table, but we think it's really, really important to focus on the situation there in Gaza at the moment. If we start focusing on one option, then the debate just becomes about an option, and we forget about everything else. So keep everything on the table and keep reminding ourselves of what is actually happening on the ground. That's the important part of it, and keep making our position clear. I was really glad that the French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot announced that the two-state solution conference, which was postponed a number of weeks ago, will take place now at the end of July. Ireland is to chair a working group at that. I think that's very, very important. It's something that we put forward. But we're talking here about the rights and the human dignity of the people in Palestine. We're talking about international humanitarian law and the obligations of states, but also our own obligations as well. Under international humanitarian law, and I certainly reminded the meeting of our view on that, as did a number of other member states.
Was there any further detail, because this is one of the things that we didn't get when the agreement was announced, was there any detail provided to member states in terms of maybe the amount of trucks that Israel has committed it would let in to Gaza as part of the deal?
We haven't got a written agreement, so I mean the detail is always going to be difficult to ascertain. The High Representative outlined some of the provisions, some of the ways that this would work, but again we haven't seen yet that working to the extent that it needs to work, and we do look forward to her updating us on a regular basis. And I think we do need to give that a chance, but we need a lot of other things to happen as well. I mean, we need sanctions on the violent settlers as well. I mean, that's something the European Council agreed, and now our Hungarian friends appear to be sort of rowing back a little bit in that, and we all, I think, other than Hungary, agreed on that. That needs to happen. But there's so many other things that we should and can be doing, and there's certainly a mood among member states to do that. Among the member states that you would have seen before making comments similar to us or in the spectrum towards us, but there's still obviously division at the council table, and we would argue that there are some aspects of these policies that we can do by qualified majority voting, but you have to get a proposal from the Commission. We don't have proposals from the Commission yet, and then we'll be told, of course, that some of these items need to be taken by unanimity, and we won't get unanimity around the table. So our position is going to keep pressing very, very strongly, engaging with all member states and trying to get results on it.
One small, very follow-up on that. Did the High Representative come with a preference of the options, and was there any decision taken on any of the options? Or
there was no decision taken on any of the options. I mean, look, sure, there's lots of people around the table who don't exercise any of the options and who don't agree with taking further actions. They want dialogue, and yes, we want dialogue as well, but dialogue with leverage, dialogue with strength.
On Georgia, is
this going at the moment? Yeah.
Yesterday's meeting on tariffs, so we've seen the list now, the 72 billion. All the sensitive items that Ireland wanted taken off there, well, most are still on there. Do you see that as a failure of Irish diplomacy? Do you still hope to get some items off that list? And what effects are coming for the Irish economy if those tariffs go into effect?
This is not the EU's fault. This is not a responsibility of the European Union. The responsibility is with America in terms of the letter that we got at the weekend, and countermeasures have to be there in reserve. They have to be there in reserve. Yes, we all have national interests, and there are some items that aren't on it that maybe other people may have suggested be